All right, hi everybody. Welcome back to the Unbuttoned Podcast. Today our episode is Meet the Coco Husbands.
Woo!
Woo! So I'm just going to give a short introduction and then I will let them introduce themselves. But please help us welcome our former landlord, man who directs traffic in his own driveway, and as anyone close to him knows, Steve. And please also welcome
Mr. Elizabeth Cortola.
Mr. Elizabeth Cortola. And please also welcome the calm, collected, quiet, reasonable, rational, level-headed, complete opposite of me.
You balance each other well.
Yes. So Hunter is my husband, Lauren, and Peter, I was clarifying, Peter we also call Steve. So if you hear us say Steve, it is Peter, and that is Elizabeth's husband. So we're just going to start out by letting you guys say a little bit about like what you do for work and like a little bit about yourself. It doesn't have to be a long, thing, because I honestly don't even really know what Hunter does. So.
I was gonna say, what exactly is
Don't know.
that you do?
Okay, so Peter, take it away.
I thought Hunter was going first.
Oh, all right. Well,
Okay.
He did teach me what the word actuarius was.
I don't know what that means.
Me neither.
No.
So we'll start with the career. So I work in healthcare and I do healthcare consulting. And I think we'll just leave it at that for now.
Tell people what that is, though.
Yeah, I work with physicians and people in healthcare. We'll keep it at that.
Okay.
Business side of
Business side of healthcare, yes. Been in Columbus for a little over a decade now.
Yeah.
Call it home.
Yeah. Okay. Peter?
I do logistics and trucking and warehousing. Not as cool as working with physicians. And I've been in Columbus my entire life for the most part. Yeah.
Cool. Good.
Why don't we talk about how you came up with the name Steve?
Honest to God, I don't know.
Benji did.
I was going to say, I think one of your kids did, and I just followed suit. I don't,
Yeah.
It just was so fitting. Like, I heard somebody say it one time, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's Steve in the morning. When he comes home.
You were being grumpy one morning.
Well,
Like, okay,
that is also part of my career, is, right? Being a landlord. And when you all were starting Coco,
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
they
We're going
never
to
would
get.
take out the trash. So that's where Steve came from.
Okay, we're going to get into Steve and his isms as our landlord and his view of what he thought we were doing all day versus what we were doing all day. But Steve really did
Creating
come from
trash and
his
not taking it
own
out.
child. His own spawn made up this nickname of him for his morning self.
Yeah.
But, okay, and then I know that a question people asked, and we can just get this part like a short little story, but people wanted to know like how each of us met.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it short and sweet. Hunter's and I is easy. My cousin set us up, and
I don't think I knew that.
really,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. My
That's
cousin
fun.
Hunter worked for my cousin's husband at Mount
Okay.
Carmel, and she was like, "I took Ben lunch today, and there's this guy Hunter that works for him. You should go out with him." And I was like, "Okay, so is he like 6'4" or above?" Like. I literally said it. I was like, how tall? And, I was asking all these questions. And she said, so then she called me a week later and she's like, all right, I took the kids in to see how he was around kids. I vetted him. He was
That's
really
so
good. She said he's
cute.
not too short, whatever. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go on a date. We go to Hudson Grill. Yeah. No, Hubbard Grill. Yeah. Hubbard Grill. Hunter was already sitting when I got in there at a high top table. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So we had dinner, we were talking, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I kind of like him. He's kind of nice, whatever. I'll go on another date with him. And then he stands up to walk me to my car, and I'm like, you liar.
Did you
And
not go to the bathroom the entire time?
no, didn't go to the
play.
bathroom, didn't get up. Yeah.
Incredible job.
Yeah.
Bladder pack on.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a catheter in. He was like ready to go. And so I said to my cousin, I was like, wow, I feel like you kind of duped me, but I like him. I'll go on another date. And she's like, yeah, I know if I told you he wasn't like 6'5", you weren't going to go out with him. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I looked past that, thankfully. And then we started dating. But that's always the story we love to tell, that Hunter was sitting and I was like, oh.
Yeah. How long did you guys date before you got engaged?
We got engaged a year after
Okay.
dating. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember how we met?
Yeah.
No, I want to hear Peter's version because I've heard your version.
I was tasked with trying to.
Met. Not like when we started dating. Like
Yeah, met.
I remember. Do you remember
Yeah.
when we first met?
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day.
Sun was shining.
It was gorgeous. I was
It
tasked.
wasn't daytime.
I was tasked with talking to the tallest girl at the bar.
Mm.
Shut up.
I bet that
And then
giraffe
she-
was hanging
yes.
out there.
And then I saw her.
You thought I was pretty?
So you think I'm pretty?
Okay, actually, we met because in college, his guy friends lived like above some of my best girlfriends, like in one of those like multi-unit houses.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Conrad and who else lived there? BMO. But so like they just kind of became friends because they like lived in the same house. So
Sure.
then we started running around in the same, like we would see each other out at night. He
Yeah.
actually dated one of my friends,
Yeah.
like loosely.
I do remember you telling me that, yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like truly how we met, like just through mutual friends.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. That
Now,
didn't
did
work
you
out.
start? Yeah. So wait, but how long after you met before you started officially dating?
Yeah. So like after college, we ran into each other on a game day. Well, actually, did we run into each other in Nashville before that? Yeah, it was like a game day at the O patio.
Okay.
Then him and Conrad were there, and we just like started hanging out.
Beating
and
the
then I
clock
got
together.
pregnant.
Yeah, okay, I was going to preface it saying, did you get pregnant before you were dating or did you date and then get pregnant?
No,
but
we
I didn't want to
dated.
say it like that, so I was like, when did you start dating?
We did not get pregnant that night, but soon after, pretty
it.
much. We dated for like 3 months before we found out we were having a baby.
Let the world know.
Before you found out, so like you usually find out maybe like a month later, so you were fresh out the gate.
We were fresh, and we were babies.
Yeah.
Peter.
He's 11.
That's so crazy to me that he's 11.
It's so freaking weird.
Been dating for 11 years and 10 months.
Yeah, you're like, I know exactly when we started dating because I just need to ask Peter J
Our
his
1
age.
year anniversary was his birthday.
You're like, come to our anniversary and birthday party for our son.
Literally. So yeah, we had a baby.
2 babies before we got married.
Yeah, we had
Oh,
a
I always forget that
baby.
you guys had Benji before you got married.
Yeah, which
That's
he was planned. Benji was.
Yeah.
But we had Peter separated for a while, got back together, bought a house, got
Which
engaged.
is the land that you're still on.
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Got engaged, had another baby, got married, had a third baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think you guys got married right around when we got married, which,
18.
okay, we got married in 2017. So it's very
Okay, yeah.
similar, but you had 2 kids. Yeah. What's the date?
2018 September.
September what?
It was a Saturday.
And the sun was shining. Nice day out.
September 29th.
To be fair, before you guys got here, we were going to ask you guys
We
that.
studied that.
But
yeah.
I said, I, honest to God, can't remember sometimes. I remember now, but if it was the 24th or 25th, I know it was that Saturday, but I remember I was always, yes, but you know me and I like, and I know 24 is even, but in my mind 25, so you think
Yeah.
it's by 5. So I always say the 25th, I'm like, it's not the 25th.
I always get it like the 28th or 29th. I always get it confused.
yeah,
But
which is fair.
Isn't September one of those months where it has different number of days each year?
February?
That's what it throws me off. Because
Oh,
February
are you
does
saying
that.
like 30 or 31 days?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, some months have 30 days and some have 31.
yeah, but it doesn't change.
28, 29 based on the leap
I always
year.
confuse February and
With
September.
September?
That's why I always get confused on our.
You
No,
wait.
you don't.
Can we
You're
pause-
so
wait.
full of shit.
That made me think of the question that I love to ask everybody, though. How do you, when you envision the months of the year in your head, how do you see them? Like, okay, if you were going to draw it on a piece of paper, like, what is your visual of the months in your head? Like, is it-
year? How do the months like look visually in your head?
Just like a grid.
Okay, explain the grid. Does it go this way? Does it go sideways, up and down?
Goes in quarters. So like
Okay.
3 months at a time.
So at the top of your grid is January, February, March.
Yeah.
Then it comes down, page
January,
break.
February, March, April, May, June.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you do?
You do not want to know.
Yours looks like a Sudoku or something.
I see it in like an oval.
Jesus.
It starts down here at January, February, starts to turn at March, April, May, June, starts to turn at July, August, September, October, and then it takes a deep turn to November, December, then it turns back.
You're like a living version of the movie Inception.
Yeah, well,
That movie, I can't even.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched that movie in a long time.
As a circle.
Yeah, and I don't know where it came from. I have no idea how it's just how I've always seen it.
So February's at 2:00.
It's down here.
What?
Yes, it starts at the bottom. Yeah, it starts at the very bottom.
What?
Yeah, it's No problem.
It explains her mood in the winter.
This is true.
Wait, that's a really good point.
Maybe it is.
What's
yeah.
at noon? It's like August, September. It happens to be up here.
That's your high point.
Even use the actual numbers. You go half off.
Oh yeah, it's not even because on the right is March, April, May, and starting to turn June. On the left is just like November, December.
You could have done it because there's 12 hours and 12 months.
But I'm moving from the bottom up this way. I'm not moving clockwise.
All the sunny months.
Yeah.
The top part.
Somebody once said, "Do you?" Oh, maybe because like the Mayan calendar. I'm like, you think I know what the Mayan calendar looks like? You're giving me way too much credit.
No, but I will say you're not the only one. Like we've done a deep dive on this, and
have.
other people have said that they see it.
We
in a
saw
circle,
one
like-
video where some girl, and then her friend was like, "I don't know what's wrong with you," and then I was like, "I have never feel more seen in my life." But
I see it just in a straight line, and I think it's because I vividly remember like a classroom in elementary school having like above the chalkboard
Like
was
timeline-y.
like all of the months. I
Which
think that's
makes
why
sense.
yeah.
So okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That just mind boggles me that like people see things so differently in their mind, and
Yeah.
until you like ask how
Yeah.
someone sees it, you just think everybody sees
Yeah.
it like you. Like before we had that conversation, I was like, "What do you mean you don't see it like this?" Like it never crossed my mind that that's not how
Right.
people were envisioning it in their mind.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
do we even get on that topic? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Oh, we were talking about Peter acting like he didn't know that there's 30 days in September.
that's right. He said
My
he
dad's
he mixes it up with
kind
February.
of birthday is today. My dad's a leap year baby, so he
That's
doesn't have
crazy.
a birthday this year. Yeah,
My favorite Joe line. That's so crazy.
so crazy.
Okay, so we wanted to just talk a little bit about like Coco from your perspectives because we've talked a lot about it from our perspective. So we'll start with what was your initial reaction when we decided to start Coco? I'll let Steve go first since it did start at his house in the shed. Actually, did it even start in the shed? We were working in your kitchen at your old house. So, no, yeah.
Well, I was excited. I think it's cool that it's really challenging to start your own thing. So I thought I was excited. I thought it was cool that Elizabeth wanted to start that, right? Thought it was even more cool that she wanted to name it after me. So I appreciate that.
You do know that I didn't realize till like later on. I was like, so where'd you get Coco anyways?
She just loves me so much she named it twice.
Yeah,
like
and then I was
couscous.
like, oh, I don't. Can we rebrand?
That was cool. And then as it started to pick up, I had to adapt to bags of clothes all around the property. I thought teenagers were just lighting piles of dog shit in paper bags around our house all the time. Right?
Bags of clothes all over the property.
And
To
the,
be
and
fair.
the list of things that are very elusive in the world, there's like the Black Panther and then women trying to drop off clothing at our house and not trying to talk to anybody. It's like the most comical thing in the world.
That's fair. That's fair. I will say that kudos to you for. I'm trying to think of how to word
You
it.
just stop right there. Just kudos to me.
Yeah, no, for real. Kudos to you. I was gonna say for
Great. Thank
just
you.
sitting back and kind of like letting Elizabeth do it and kind of make some of those mistakes because you have started your own business, and so you could have easily like stepped in and been like, "Don't do that, don't do this," and like not let her figure it out herself and been like a little bit more controlling about it. But you really did just like let her do her thing, and then kind of let us come to you and be like, "Hello, help us."
We've had a lot. Yeah.
So kudos to you for like.
We've had a lot of talks late night when she's asking business questions where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I give advice and sometimes she wants to listen, sometimes she doesn't.
Yeah.
There's some things you got to learn by yourself because
Yeah.
they're things that you think you know or you get told your entire life, like, no, we'll be able to do this or do
Mm-hmm.
it differently. And just once you walk into the walls of a business, everything changes. Yeah. Right?
Daily.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
gotta-
insane.
When you're running a business, you got to put everything's got to be checked at the door. So you can have personal relationships and friends, and right, but it's hard to run a business with that. You know, when you mix that stuff. But when you have the same vision and you're amped up about it, right, it makes it possible.
We've talked a lot about that on here, actually, that like before we started it, we were always like, God, I don't know how people like work with friends. Like it feels like such a bad idea, whatever. We started it, but we've also had to like learn together to say, like, when we'll have a conversation, like, this is friend me saying, or like, this is work me saying. So like when I'm about to say this, don't think like, oh, you're not being a nice friend. Like, this is not take me out of the equation as a friend, you know. whatever. But I do think that that's been like a learning curve for sure. And I, like you said, check it at the door is hard because sometimes, especially with us, like our whole business is online and it never goes away. It's that is so hard to like put it down or to not be communicating our every thought.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. But I'm saying because you knew that feeling, like kudos to you for.
But it's cool to see how it started just as an idea and then as, like more social and then turned to like materializing and then turned into the she shed.
Yeah.
And then turned into taking my she shed over and then turned into a very long project doing the she shed that somehow Joe got all the credit for.
Joe did a lot.
Well,
Okay, look. That's
he
crazy.
He did do a lot. But
And then we took over your man cave.
he took over my man
I
cave.
was going to say, we had a long conversation. We were
Right.
like, how mad do you think Peter's going to be that if we just creep up into the barn?
You can like see where you all went. It would be like a pack of raccoons that just got and then stirred everything up and then went to the next place. Took all the good
It was.
took all the good shit and moved on to the next one.
It was.
There's like in the she shed, there's still like remnants of Coke, like old. It's like you guys got rot. Like
It is. Sav and I walked in there not that long ago to find part of our
it's like,
like
you,
shelf.
you didn't move in here that day. You weren't gonna get the spots. You
We
just
never
like,
went back.
Grab what you can.
No, we didn't. We never went back. We never
Yeah.
went back.
Now
It's
the
like-
bar's just sitting in
It's just
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Just
There's a fireplace.
I forgot about
No,
that.
that's
Now we did move that
Yeah.
out just to the grass area
Yeah,
for a
you did.
while.
It was perfect. It leaned against our house. It was gorgeous.
The cats lived behind it.
Yeah.
We were giving animals a home. Jesus,
Yeah.
give us a break.
So,
But
it was cool, and I was happy to help where I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, it was her. I mean, she drove it forward. I mean, like she would ask me some questions, but
yeah,
and I would, like I said, I would just try to steer. There are parts of the business that I think that you're supposed to be innovative of, and there's parts of business that there's a lot of time, effort, and history around why parts of the business run
Yeah.
certain ways.
Yeah.
That's not where you want to put your energy in trying to reinvent.
yeah, yeah.
So
And sometimes you have to like learn that the hard way, where you think that you're like, okay, this is where it's gonna be. We're gonna make the big impact here, and then you're like, we're
Yeah.
recreating the wheel. This is stupid. Let it go.
Yeah, I feel like he. I mean, he's always been super supportive, but I feel like he has like a
Unless we're doing a try on in his room.
Yes, unless we're moving furniture.
That's where
around.
he draws the line.
the moving the furniture in our bedroom is the most outlandish shit in the world.
if things are like
What
in
is
the
it?
wrong place to
He
this day, he
freaks-
blames Lord.
He blames me. I'm like, I don't even
I just
live
don't
there.
understand why.
He'll text me and be like, why was the lamp
Why
moved? I'm
is
like,
the lamp-
I don't even work there anymore.
But like, why do you unplug that damn lamp every time? I don't understand it.
I did it.
Who does it?
I don't know. Maybe the cleaning people, but it's not
I
me.
don't get it. It's like literally.
I'm like,
a
why
fucking
would it be
practical
me?
joke.
It's definitely a child.
Yeah, I'm like-
not her coming into our
Like,
bedroom
why
and just
me?
taking the fucking
It's like
lamp
you
out.
wake. I get to sleep in. Let's say every once in a while, then I'll wake up and there's 3 girls in your closet. They're all. It's like, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah, that did. That was,
Right.
that's
And
Then
the-
I'm getting ready in the morning, and I'm just walking out of the shower, and I just see bloop, and then Lauren's face pop up on face. It's like, hi. It's like, the hell. Which I think it's really cool that
That's
you guys
very
how
true.
you guys communicate about your days, because I understand why. I think I understand why you do it, because it does help ease the anxiety of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I just don't like doing it. You doing it when I'm naked
Yeah.
in the back.
We aren't looking at you, Steve. Rest assured, we aren't looking at you. However, it is true, and we have talked about this a lot. That is like a hard part about like this, because we find that like in the morning we'll have to FaceTime like while we're getting ready,
Yeah.
because we all 4 work literally in one corner.
Yeah.
So we never have time to connect
We
the
don't
2
have
of us.
any like
so if we don't connect
privacy.
outside of it,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Hunter and Steve will say, "What do you guys have more to talk about?"
There's
But truly,
always
I
so
could talk for
much.
hours later.
And I'm gonna put my jeans on. Then I'm gonna go. It's like, she doesn't need a damn play-by-play. She doesn't need it.
I know.
Just tell her you'll be there around 11:30.
Yeah.
It's like, I think you guys. I think
know.
you both need to understand that between the hours of when you're at home and whenever you get here, the other one's not thinking like, "What in the fuck is she doing? Is she out there doing other things?"
The thing is, though, I don't
Yeah.
ever, if I don't check in with Elizabeth, I'm not actually sure when she may arrive. So I have to just do a little like, is she out of bed? There's days that I've texted Myrma like, she good? You gonna wake
Yeah,
her?
is she alive?
So I gotta check in. And to be fair,
You know, everybody has to be somewhere typically around 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
She's typically, and all three kids and the dog and Bernard are fast asleep
That's
until
why
8:15.
right. That's why I
Most
check in
days.
around 8:20. I'm like, did Myrma show up?
She's like my
is William out of
secondary
bed?
alarm clock.
Does William have his warmed milky? And has Peter J and everyone got on the bus? And is Elizabeth opened her eyes? Like,
It's like, you know, I think your mom's. It's like, you know, the Willy Wonka, Charlie, like how they all like live and talk in the bed. That's what like the bed look. It's like there's so many bodies, right? And they're all just sound asleep.
that is us at night. We all watch a movie in our bed before bed every
Yeah.
night, and everyone's like just piled in,
Yeah,
row after
it's
row.
honestly the like having
I
a
kinda love
first
it.
floor master is like amazing, but it also
I
is
could
like
never do it.
It sucks. Like
I promise you I'd never get
lay
out of
in
bed.
that bed more. I mean, I love
I
that
would
bed.
never get out of bed. But back to what we were talking about. Peter
Okay,
answered
yeah,
this
wait, I was
question a
gonna
little
say,
bit. Sorry,
To add to his
sidetracked, that's
input, we
great.
sidetracked. Never.
No.
He is always really like protective when it comes to like business stuff because he like just knows how hard it is, and I feel
In
like
what
in the
facet?
beginning,
What do you mean?
just like I feel like he was, you know, a little bit. What? Yeah, like
I
just
see.
everything, like starting
Detail.
the business. He's like, this isn't just like gonna be like fun. Like
Yeah.
there's like it's gonna be really fucking hard.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, are you sure you want to do this? And
Yeah.
like every aspect, he's like, you're not negative, but you're
Yeah.
just honest about being. I mean, it's just so not glamorous all the
Mhm.
time, and I do appreciate that. And you have given me amazing advice, whether I take it or not. I always like think about it and
Yeah.
I take it into account,
Yeah.
even though I'm stubborn.
We do
But-
more than you guys might know. Say like we do.
We
More than you guys know.
do.
We'll say like, all right, Peter and Hunter kind of said like
Yeah.
this. Let's think that through, but then also like think through in our
Yeah.
avenue because we know it. But
Yeah.
you know, we do say that a lot.
We
And,
always listen.
I mean, same to Hunter. Like he has always been on board.
Yeah.
Times when I've been like tiptoe in there and be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
so what do you think about this? Because I'm like, I'm gonna, you know, see how I'm gonna test the waters before I break the ice of.
Yes.
So we're doing this, and this, and he's always like,
I know. We're
okay,
really lucky
so,
to have you guys.
and then he'll talk through the logical part where I'm like, I don't know what to think about that yet, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But it's helpful.
Hunter, do you agree?
Mostly.
Yeah. But
She's really manhandling that microphone.
well,
over
I
there.
was just gonna pass it to him because I was gonna say I would like to
Like,
hear.
This is like.
we need Hunter's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd like to hear, but from my perspective, I'm giving you kudos because you have always been the more calm, collected, logical person, like bringing up things I like the word EBITDA. I'm like, excuse me, and you're like, you need to know that. I'm like, you know,
Not yet.
not yet. Woo!
Can't
Yeah, that
deposit
was-
EBITDA.
What?
That was
Can't
a fun.
deposit EBITDA.
I'm like, see, I start to tweak out. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation with Lauren and Elizabeth
Tears.
going through their year-end financials and trying to explain what was going on.
Hunter said, so who does your finances? We're like, oh, us.
Yeah, and we've had some talks.
It's hard.
It's hard, right?
We have often said the first year when we started, we were staying at the Ritz in Atlanta. Now we're staying at the fucking Holiday Inn because what
a
were we
room.
doing?
It's easy when you're all hyped up on it. Then you start looking at financials, and you learn words like EBITDA or EBITDA, however you want to say it. You learn
No,
right, and you learn about cash flow, and you learn if you spend more than you make,
That,
you're in trouble.
Issue.
Issue.
however, coming from the same facet, the advice was also you got to spend money to make money, but you just got to know how much to spend to make money and not overspend, which is a fine freaking line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that line gets tossed around a lot because you do, but I think there should be a couple more lines like spend money on things that generate revenue
Well, okay, yeah, I agree.
to make money.
Yeah,
right?
let's be fair about that.
You know,
Yeah.
so
The Ritz may not generate
Yeah.
revenue.
yes, it's a revenue sucker.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, I'm not trying to like toot our horn, but we actually got a really great freaking rate.
But it's really important, and that's one thing. The evolution of you all striking the deal to work together,
Yeah.
and then going through financials and learning these things that inherently raises the entrepreneurial spirit here. And that's really important, I feel like, when you're running a small business, to have more than one person have an entrepreneurial spirit, because if you're surrounded by all yes people, right? And there's no one else like challenging financials or all that, it can, you know, it can go left or right real
We've
quick.
talked about that.
I shared that on here. We should share that. So what
Yeah.
Peter's alluding to is last year, was it? Yeah, January of last year.
Yeah.
Lauren invested in the company. But like that was Lauren and Hunter. Yes, I should definitely.
Yeah, I was like,
Shit, if I wasn't here, will you do
yeah.
light guy?
No, Hunter was really involved and really
Hunter,
helpful.
when I went to Hunter, I was tiptoeing on up to bring up the
Yeah.
conversation, and Hunter was like, I think you should do it because
Yeah.
you've worked really darn hard.
Yeah.
And if this is something you really want.
Yeah.
Now, he brought up a lot of really good points that
Yeah.
I, gonna be honest, the conversation a few times ended in me saying, I want to take a time out and not talk about
Yeah.
this because it's stressing me out. And
Yeah.
like, let's come back to it because
It
I need to
was
think on it.
stressful because it was like a really
I mean,
big deal.
Also, real conversations, as in the conversation of Hunter said, yeah, now I want you to really think about this. What if we ever have to move for my job? What are you going to do?
Right.
You own a company here, like part of a company
Right.
here. And like, what if I need to leave?
Right.
And I said, have fun in that apartment. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Just joking. I didn't say that. But
She said I would go on my own.
no, I didn't. But for real, like he gave conversations that I was like, yeah, shit, I really need to think deeply about these things that I
Yeah.
didn't even take into a factor before we thought of all that.
Yeah.
And again, the finance part, we
Yeah.
really had to talk through.
I'm very grateful we had both of you guys through that process because it was a lot and you guys both challenged us a lot to think through things. But truly just cautiously thinking through it. And that's more so what I'm saying. Like every advice that you give me is always very like cautious and you have wisdom from going through really hard things where like curveballs happen. And I appreciate that, like, you're always challenging me to think through, like, the really hard what ifs, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter, give us what you would say from day one, like before I even started this, like when I started going to the shed and then up to like investing in the company.
Sure. So I'm trying to think. So we were living at your parents' house while we were building our house.
right. We were
Yeah,
doing
we had
that. I
we had a
forgot about that.
2-year-old and a 6-month-old at her parents' house, crammed in there. I was working out of her parents' basement, and middle of the pandemic, you wanted to start working again, and I was all for that. And you guys started in interior design, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, 1 day a week turned into 2, and then 2 days a week turned into, I think we should start a women's clothing boutique. And I was just like, all right. So the interior design lasted like 3 months.
So you guys still be doing that?
I bet, you know, the women's clothing thing, maybe that lasts 5 or something. So I was like, go for it. But then like 2 days a week turned into 3, and then it turned into full time, and then it turned into ownership in the company. And
Wait, I just want to let everybody know that it is not in my personality to like be throwing out kudos left and right to people. So this is,
We
but
know.
yeah, truly, I am really bad with feelings and like actually expressing things like that. I can fully own up to that. It's not really, roasting is my love language, and it's not right. It's got to go, but it is. Like if I roast you, I love you. Like if I roast you, I love you. But anyways,
Gee, thanks.
you're welcome. Yeah,
Wow,
but
I must really be loved.
what I was gonna say is kudos to Hunter because I will never forget this. That the first time when I called him saying, "So I think we're gonna go to Chicago," he, honest to God, was like, "That's cool. You should do it." And I was like, "Okay, but like the kids." And he's like, "I got it. It'll be fine." And I was so thankful that you never made me feel guilty for going anywhere to try it because I was like, I would have probably felt really scared to do something if you had made me feel guilty about leaving or anything. And I kudos to you for being so supportive because I know that a lot of people don't have that same match to that. So I'm thankful for that.
And then, gosh, it's really weird because like you two started out in the shed, but like now you've developed into this office space. You guys are like basically created a second family here, and you do talk a lot. I mean, like Peter was saying, it's like I get out of the shower and I hear somebody in the morning. I'm like, Lauren,
Hey, Elizabeth.
who's on FaceTime?
Now we're 3 years in. It's like so crazy. It went by so fast.
You know, you two are really lucky that you have us, me and Hunter.
Oh, shut
the more
Yeah.
we
So
talk
supportive.
about it,
The more
we talk about it.
Just give myself a pat on the back here, you know?
oh, you deserve it.
No, you do deserve it. I will give you that. And yeah, you guys do deserve a pat on the back. It would be very, very hard to have somebody come up to you and at the drop of a dime who just had a baby, you're living at my parents' house, and then me saying, and actually now I think I want to like start a business and go to work, and you at the same time had also gotten a new job. Like
Yeah.
now that I look back, I'm like, whew,
Yeah.
that whole year was just a bomb,
Yeah.
just dropped, and nobody knew what they were doing,
Right.
but everybody figured it out. And to you, I mean, we just invaded your home like a virus, just
Cool.
and now I'm giving you credit, but I also got to tell you a few Steve stories that stemmed. I took the brunt for Steve's major moment. Still to this day for Tracy, so she needs to maybe lay on a train track for me because I got a text one morning from Steve, paragraph form. I don't know who leaves trash at the bottom of a staircase in a garage. There's cats in my Porsche. He's freaking out. He's like, this is directed at me. And I go, I'm a really...
Just for the record, she said it was a text, so she put all that. That emotion. Yes.
Yeah, well, how else are you going to read it? Who puts a trash bag at the bottom?
I'm just
Because you
curious.
aren't talking like that.
Who gets to the bottom of the stairs like, here's a good place, right here. This is
Right.
perfect.
Agree, but
There were literally cats on
so
top of
he was freaking out because there were cats.
So crazy.
Fair. And I just decided, you know what, this is not worth the explanation, the defending. I'm like, I'm really sorry that happened. We'll take the trash out. Now, mind you, the week, that wasn't me, but I just was like, I'm going to shut my mouth and take it. The week before, they were out of town. And my ass was dragging their fucking personal trash to
like,
the
called
end of their
Rumpke
driveway.
and
I called
shit.
Rumpke to see if they
Yeah.
could do an extra pickup. I was like, you know, I'm like, I'm going to make sure that the trash is out. I'll even take their trash. I'm going to be really nice. And then Steve hit me with the, who leaves the trash? I'm like, woosah, because I'm about to be like, do you know I called Rumpke on your behalf?
Yeah. The trash
But I-
created a lot of tension.
A lot of tension over trash.
Who leaves trash?
I mean, the amount of trash that we have
Is insane.
It is
It's
insane.
insane. It's insane. I do
It's
agree.
insane.
That's why I just let it go that time. But Steve was really Steven that morning.
It's just, yes, I was, because there's a lot of, you produce a lot of trash, and it's big bulky trash. But
Yeah.
if you just put a little bit of time into it, it doesn't have to be big and bulky.
We didn't build the
If you-
mile-long
if you-
driveway,
if you cut-
so that feels like a you problem.
You cut the boxes down.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't find a box cutter. It was pretty far to the barn.
Getting like 8 giant boxes from China every couple weeks, right?
Yeah, there we just ran out of space. That's why we have here now. But okay, so each of you, I would just like you to give your advice or tidbit to any other husband who may have a wife that wants to start a business, just coming from like watching the business start and or living through it now. Either of you could go first.
All right, let's see. I mean, I've never been an entrepreneur myself, but just watching you guys, I think it's important to just let them hustle. Do what you can to let them hustle, and I think all that hard work ends up paying off at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would say same thing. Want to make their own mistakes within reason.
Yeah.
Be stubborn about putting a line between personal financials and business financials, right? And let them like learn how to raise their own capital or build credit and all that. But yeah, let them learn from mistakes within reason,
Yeah.
right?
You said something that I want to debunk for people.
Yeah.
Because people often, the misconception from people is because they don't know. I'm not saying like people are out there like talking shit, but people often think that you guys just paid for everything
Yeah.
for Coco and that we could only do this because
Yeah.
our husbands were paying for it. We've heard that before, and we always joke and we're like, be nice.
Yeah. I mean, to an
Throw
extent,
it-
like he pays for our house,
Well,
which is
that's what
where
I was
we
going to say. I
were-
want to
yeah.
preface that with saying we obviously were married,
Yeah,
and so we
yeah.
have shared financials, and obviously we were not working at the start of this, so like paid for things in the sense of like yes, we still were living at first like a one income
Yeah.
household. We still had the support of our husbands financially for like buying groceries, all
Yeah.
these things. That is
Yeah.
not lost upon us.
Yeah.
They work really hard and
Yeah.
gave us the freedom to start something on our own in the sense of we knew at home we were gonna be okay because they were working, but I would love to hear your side of where people think that like you guys were just like paying for the inventory, paying for the rent,
Yeah.
paying for the
I mean,
stuff.
Peter was literally like, "Go get an Amex business card." Like he was like, "I know we do need to do that," but yeah,
I'm very. You can ask her. I'm very. I was very stubborn about business expenses and personal expenses. You know, it's like if you're gonna.
And
go
I'm
get-
glad you were because it's
You
forced.
know, if you're gonna go buy a laptop, we're not buying the laptop. Like,
Yeah.
you got to learn to go spend that. You know, and build your own credit and spend that. Like, there was stuff where we had from our old offices, or right, yeah, take it. You know, but even getting to how you understand of like when you have all this inventory and getting depreciated, it's like you want to learn that stuff early.
Yeah.
Because if you don't learn it early, and you have this fictitious understanding of what it takes to run the business, it builds this false sense of productivity or builds this false sense of like stability, and it's not healthy for anybody. For people who think that I'm not, like you said, I'm sure there's not a mass of people that are just sitting there all day thinking, you know.
Yeah, like people have lives.
But
and
I
not-
also think that there's like to Hunter, you know, I would say my credit that, you know, being able to us work and you all be able to have the avenue to start something at this part of our life with
100%.
kids, where the financial contribution potentially to the households
yes,
is not all there yet, but
agree.
your sanity
Yeah.
and you all being happy makes for a happy home,
Yeah.
which in turn is worth its weight in gold.
Now, to be fair to you guys, we had to really learn the hard way and figure out too the work-life harmony, because it is a lot of work at first, but also as a mom and stuff, you have a lot of pressure at home, and we're still figuring it out every day of
Totally.
like what is the appropriate amount of time to put in where and who needs you when and all of that.
Totally.
But we could not have done this without you guys in the sense of the support.
yeah,
So that is not lost upon us, that you have supported us in ways that, you know, we
Yeah.
couldn't do this without you. So that is very true. But you had said something that made me think of a point that I wanted to make right at the end. What were you saying financially? You said business versus like home finances. And that was a really hard conversation we actually had to have one time. It was right when we started, like, actually both kind of part ownership. We were in Atlanta. I'll never forget it. We were at that place that's kind of like North Market.
yeah.
We were upstairs at this 2-person table, and we
went through.
this was
all
before
of
we
our-
also learned to say friend conversation, business
Yes,
conversation.
yes.
That was our actual tipping point to
Yeah.
learn to say that,
Yeah.
because we found ourselves in a public place in tears because we were saying, we were opening up every account and figuring out, here's what on our Apple account, we're paying for these apps that we don't even
Yeah.
know. I'm like, your phone, we didn't even know your phone wasn't paid off still. We have this
Yeah.
laptop, we have this
Yeah.
iPad. I'm like, I did not know these things existed
Yeah.
that need paid off. And it was a conversation that had to be had.
Totally.
But it was our first financial conversation where we
Like,
also didn't know how to
digging
split,
into
saying
every
like,
little thing.
yes.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where, you know, there were tears or whatever. And then we like paused and I was like, wait, stop. Let's like figure
Yeah.
out why you're in tears. And you said to me, I'll never forget, you said, I feel like you just feel like I'm a really bad business owner. And I was like, oh, whoa. I did
think
not
it
mean
was
any of
more
that.
So just like the pressure.
Totally.
You
And I
know,
think that like
it was just
it was
like-
our first conversation we had to have, and you felt
is
so
so
much pressure. And I was
hard.
like, okay, I
Yeah.
want you to know something.
Yeah.
Me having these conversations is absolutely never saying that
And I
you're
know
not doing it.
that.
We
Yeah.
know that now.
Yeah.
But in that moment, we had to learn saying
Yeah.
like, whoa, I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah.
We're in this together.
Yeah.
But that was our
Yeah.
first hard
Yeah.
conversation where we had to be like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we really do need to like
I feel like
figure that out.
that too was like the turning point of like, this isn't just like a fun hobby anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was
100%
like,
was.
that's when shit got real, and it
Yeah.
was like, okay, we are like this isn't just like
Running
we
it.
have no overhead and we're in the shed and
Yeah.
like, you know, we've got a team now.
The shed was overhead.
Okay, well, we
Technically.
didn't.
Not for us.
The rent wasn't coming out of my business bank account, but
It was
again,
built before you moved in, so it's basically paid off.
yeah, that's been there since day one, honey.
It definitely didn't have floor to ceiling windows, French doors.
Joe
Joe
needed
put
a
those
hobby.
in.
That was Joe. We're still waiting for our picnic table in the back you said you'd build.
No, you definitely
We're
facilitated that.
literally just like busting you right now because he has done a ton. He built
Yeah.
a backdrop back there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I walked into your garage one night when you were building the photo backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need a project. You need to make us a picnic table. But anyway, yeah, I feel like that was like when things started to be like, okay, we're actually doing this. We've been doing this for like, 2 years, I guess, at that point. And it's just, it's just a lot of pressure. And like sometimes it just comes crashing down and it's like, holy shit, like this is a lot. Like we have people to support now and like we have a lot of money tied up in this. And
That's
it's like,
also been where like the tables turned for us too when it wasn't just you and I anymore. Because for a while it was like fine, like it was you and I. Okay, you did this, whatever. It was whatever. When other people's stuff starts to ride on your shoulder, it gets a lot more like fine, you and I can do this and this, but like this is someone else's life.
Right.
Someone else depends on us. That's a fine line. Like where we look at each other like, okay, yes, but like we know that we are part owners of this, so we take ourselves out of the equation. But when it comes to like someone who works for us, we're like, no. It's like you cannot mess with that.
Yeah, totally.
But so I think that was great advice for both of you, and thank you.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I feel like I'm not being like completely real without talking about the struggle that was like taking time away from the household and like the kids to do this. Like that was definitely like hard, and I feel like it's something that we're navigating always, and I don't know that we ever won't be.
Totally.
But like,
life is different. Like,
and I think like when I really reflect on it, I'm like, okay, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So was Peter's mom. We both came from that. Yeah. And I feel like when we had kids, my mom did too. But like,
Terry
had her interior.
She's always worked.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just saying,
Worked
like,
a flexible job that was able to.
yes.
Okay.
And like, when we had kids so young, I was still working and everything. And then when Peter was growing ease and I decided to walk away from my job, I thought that I was going to stay home. Yeah. And like, I didn't feel fulfilled doing that. And I had a lot of like guilt and shame about that. And so I pursued something, but I do think that like there was this transition period of like, okay, but like I'm working my ass off and trying to build this business. I need you to be like the present parent and be with the kids and stuff. But like, I was kind of miserable. And so that, just navigating that, I feel like people don't talk about it enough. It's like,
when like the social norm of like mom that should just fall into that role.
Right.
And like, it is like, we were talking about this before you guys got here.
Yes.
How no matter how much you want to spin it or deny it, there is something that a mom brings to the house that nobody else can bring.
Yep.
And so
the dad can't, the nanny can't.
Like you, like you, everybody has their role. There are things that I can't bring to the house that you bring. Don't get me wrong. Sure, it's trash. Trash is not my job at our house either. So I agree. 100%. When Rick goes out of town, sometimes I will let it fill up so high where I'm like, get home, the trash.
My worst nightmare is when I arrive back home from my work trips.
And I know she leaves the dishes
and
in
the
the sink.
dishes are piled high. There's a mountain of boxes in our mudroom.
Yeah. It's not my job. Honestly, I'm like, this is not my job. It isn't. It is not my job. Nor it's. We just have our like roles, and we are very like I do this, he does that, and
you guys are really good about that though. I have like mad respect for how you guys like just
we have a system to our house, and it is how it works, and we both Now we will pick up slack when one needs it, but I do when the business trip is over 3 days. I'm like,
Yeah.
who's going to do these dishes because it's not about to be me.
I know.
To
I
be
texted
fair-
Hunter the last time he was out of town. I'm like, bro, she's spiraling.
Yeah, like, you
and I
gotta get
just want to
home.
give you a heads up.
Now, to be fair, the dishes became Hunter's job because he does not like the way I clean the dishes. So he that was
He's
your own
taking
fault.
that. Yeah.
It is my own fault, but it was just one of those things I had to do. I couldn't overlook it.
Yes, like it's just your thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that brings me to, do you guys fully wash your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher?
No.
Thank you.
Hell
Hunter
to the
gets so mad. He's
no.
like, you put this in the dishwasher, there's crumbs on it. I'm like, that's the point.
Do you fully wash the dish?
Wash everything by hand. And
Really?
then put it back in the dishwasher.
At what sink? I've never seen you at the sink.
That's so comical.
Just joking.
Are you kidding?
No, you do that. You wipe up. You like will take a frying pan that you made breakfast in and literally like wipe it with a fucking wet paper towel. But like,
To be fair, I actually just learned that we got a cast iron,
You're
and that
supposed
is
to
actually
season
how
it.
you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to wash it. Yeah.
It's not like
I actually used to think that was gross, and now I realize that's actually what you're supposed to do, so I'll
it's
give you the
same with
credit.
Knives, like you're not supposed to put knives in the dishwasher.
I agree.
She thinks it's like
Certain knives.
she got on me. I think you actually had it's like the bread knife. I used to cut 1 or 9 pieces of sourdough,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I wash it and put it back in there. And she's like the most outlandish.
no, what I'm more so getting at is that
I
like you
should-
don't use the
I should-
dishwasher.
Just fillet a wild boar.
Well, okay, that's fair, but the only no.
Okay, but when you
Okay,
do chicken, it
to
freaks
be
me
fair
out.
though, to our defense, or mainly Hunter's, is
Wild boar.
Hunter has a dairy allergy, like severe, like anaphylactic
Yeah.
shock. So we wash everything just because we don't know what touched
Yeah.
what. So we are a little anal about that at our house. So to be fair,
That's so
when I say
fair.
those things, I forget that other people don't have to like diligently wash the pan after eggs because like I put cheese in my eggs.
Yeah.
She can't touch
Yeah.
that pan after it. So I'm like,
That's
I forget
fair.
that other people don't like diligently wash their stuff like that.
Right.
And then I'm like, you're not washing that, but like,
Yeah.
most people don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fair.
Where was
You were
I?
saying about staying home and how you.
Oh, yeah. So I was just thinking last night actually about how, like, I feel like there were times when I was starting Coco that, like, I felt you kind of saying, like, well, I still want you to, like, have that piece of, like, being that person in the house and, like, the mom role and stuff. But I think I got like defensive because I felt like it was kind of like, well, your role is in the house, but you never were saying that by any means. I think that like it's like a societal thing that is happening where it's like women don't have to be,
Yeah.
you know, in the house and whatever. You weren't.
What was
saying
your
that.
perspective? Like, how were you saying it? In what aspect were you saying it? Because she's saying that's how she read it, even though that's not what you were saying. Tell us your perspective on what you were saying.
You work really hard, and we were working really hard.
Yeah.
And it's, although I might have been at the office, it takes her support, right? And you work really hard to be able to do something like her stay home. And it's more of like, how I looked at it, or how my thing was, is like, worked really hard for us to be able to have somebody at home.
Yeah.
And that's a
And that's
luxury.
fair. Yeah.
And
You
that
know,
is a luxury.
It's
And
like, that's so incredibly fortunate.
but
you
as
know?
women, you're like, I feel bad if I don't want to take advantage of the
Right.
luxury.
Right,
It's
so
like
that's
guilt
all-
because you're like, I
right.
know for a fact
Happy
this is a
doing
luxury.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
I know that. This is not going to
Then
work.
it gets looked at as, well, it's like we're very fortunate to be able to have it. It's not like you're a woman, you're supposed to be home. It's more just like
Right.
we're happy to, we're very fortunate to be able to do that. So why would you want to go out and start your own thing and introduce this stress in your life that you don't need? No, like when I say need, like we're very fortunate and blessed to be able to say, like, you don't need to go do that.
Yeah.
Right. So why would you want to do that? And it's almost like it's a mental thing for us as well, right? It's like, work real hard. I thought this is, like
your
Yeah.
role is like to be the provider.
well, that's like you get
Well, even people
you
have
get
said
back
to
to
me,
like
starting it, like, you don't need to work. Why are you working?
Right. Right.
And I see that. I'm like, I
Right.
see that 100%. And I do think that that's like you, in your eyes, I'm hearing you say, like, I'm working really hard, but we're a team, and I can't work really hard to provide this for you if you don't help me on the aspect of the home front, because I have to spend more time at work to make sure that this happens.
Well, I think mine was more like, why would you want to have that stress that you don't need to have?
Because you're kind of jaded by the amount of
Yeah,
stress
like why do you need to have that
Yeah.
stress? It wasn't so much like I understand. Well, I'm not going to say I understand motherhood. No chance I'm going to say. But
I was like, tell us.
the role, and you're right. The mom's role in the house is very important. It's very hard, right? I don't get it, but I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I completely understand why you want to get out of the house and go have your own thing, be it whatever it is.
Sure.
So I completely support that. It's more of like, why take on that heavy stress and go sign on this and that and do all this stuff if you don't, like, we don't need it.
And it could be one of those things that's the same thing about, like, when people would say, like, why would you have kids?
And then when I say we
Why
don't
would
need
you
it,
add a stress? Like, what are you
Right.
thinking? But you're like,
Right.
if it's something that I truly want versus need, sometimes you're willing to work
Yeah.
past the stress. But
Yeah, when I say we don't need it, I don't mean it like we could always, it's both parents working is always a nice pickup, right? I'm just saying, like, you don't need to go take on that stress right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. And I look at it and I'm like, see this train coming. It's like, I thought,
Been there.
Yeah.
But like, what stresses me out stresses her out too,
yeah,
right? So like, I may be on the front lines of some stuff, but she sees it at home and it stresses. So like,
same.
yeah,
I get a third hand.
right?
But truly,
Yeah,
I mean, we've spent so much time together that we truly will come in and I'll be like, okay, Hunter's really stressed about this. Like, I need a minute because this and that. Like, we have had to learn to adapt to each other's families too, because we're just so close in it. But I do think that you saying, like, taking on the stress is a really important part. But I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can tell this part, but from Hunter's perspective, because we've talked a lot about this, is my mental health was really suffering at the time because I didn't have something for myself.
Yeah.
So in turn, Hunter saw something that I didn't see, saying that this may help you mentally, even though it's going to bring you on stress. You are like a doer, and if this is going to bring you in the long term, I mean, you speak that more.
Yeah,
so
I
than
mean, it was good stress at the end of the day.
Like fulfilling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and like when you think about it too, I mean, you were at home in your parents' house with an infant and a toddler, nobody else to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
no
Your parents' gross dog, like, you know. Yeah. We do kind of love you, Lexi. But
for yourself.
like I don't know if you weren't a stay-at-home mom during that time, I don't know if you can like fully grasp what people were going through, and it was rough. And like you had worked prior to staying home, you know, like you were a very involved
kids, though.
teacher, right?
Yeah.
And your stay-at-home mom journey was kind of cut short by the pandemic, and so
It was a different experience than I had expected, probably likely due to some of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I actually was one of those people who always envisioned being a stay-at-home mom. It was all I ever really wanted. Like, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, it never occurred to me that I would go back to work after I had kids. Like, I wanted to stay home.
Yeah.
My mom, I just thought that I was going to be the top-notch mom housewife there was to have. I was going to love it. My house was going to be sparkling. I was going to be like wearing pearls with the vacuum. Like,
And you
I
have
mean,
like an identity crisis when you're in that position and you're like, I don't do a good, I don't like feel fulfilled by this, like at
No.
all. It's hard.
and there
it's
was
hard.
a specific day I can remember, and I'm sure you remember too, while we were living in my mom's, that I was sitting on the bed having a full-blown mental breakdown, crying, and you're okay, and crying, and I will never forget the next day Hunter said, hey, so I am, we're going to go to Florida for a few weeks. I'll work from there. Let's just like get out, because I genuinely needed it. But I need to pause because I'm laughing, because sign of a true good husband, he has my self-tanner on his hand from doing my back. I just looked down, I'm like, what's on his hand? I'm like, it's my self-tanner.
What a good hubby.
self-tanning
self-tanner
duties.
application on Lauren's back.
Can't get the back.
My back's just white.
No, I
I
leave it
just
white.
can't reach it.
Okay, same. But this week specifically, we started shooting spring stuff, and I was like, damn, I can't leave my
know.
back white because we're gonna be on
I
tank
almost
tops.
asked Peter J the other night to wipe it on, and then I was like, "That's a really bad idea. I think I would
Yeah,
rather
so that caught my eye. I was like, oh my god.
On the blue gloves.
Yeah. I usually have gloves for him, but I was not in love.
That is so
I
funny.
get it. But anyways, as I was saying, you really did see the mental health aspect of it, and that I appreciate.
see, it's interesting too because like we had kids so young. I hadn't even like had a chance to like think about like whether I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I remember being in like very not that much before I got pregnant. I was like, I don't even know if I want to have kids. Like I want to like have a career and I want to like be a boss and I want to like, you know, I like remember really wanting to like go live in LA for a little bit and like work on movie sets and shit. Like I was so like excited to like have a really awesome career, and then I became a mom, which was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. But I think that was really hard to have a baby at 22.
Well, yeah, that alone.
And like that, like my career was so halted. And so I think maybe that's part of why I felt like I was just still called to like do something and create something outside of being a mom, because I felt like I didn't really like have my full time to get that, you know?
It's a really great perspective because
Yeah.
I came from the opposite way, and it's like really interesting to hear that. And I think to myself now often that I'm in my 30s, that sometimes my brain behaves like it's in its 20s, because in my 20s I was acting like I was 30.
Right.
I was doing the opposite, and I don't know why.
Right.
I just like in my mind I needed to have everything figured out. I was so structured. I was so type A.
Yeah.
That I have learned along the way, maybe because I've learned within this business, like you got like a lot of stuff that I now am like, oh, maybe I wish I was a little bit more like that. Like I wanted to move away and do this, but like my mind never went there when I was
You
younger.
were just like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got there and was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I love it. I love being with my kids and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. I love being a mom more than anything, and I would trade anything for my kids. But I do feel fulfilled having something for myself that I thought I would never.
For sure.
I think the whole like work-life balance thing is just like a little bit of a farce. Like,
It totally is.
like people talk about it all the time. You're on work meetings and everybody's like, "Oh, work-life balance, work-life balance."
Harmony.
But like in today's world, there's so many parents who are both working, you know, full-time jobs, and it's just like, you know, whenever other folks at work ask me about work-life balance, I'm like, you just have to live in the moment.
Right, right.
If you know you're going to have time with your kids and at home during a certain period, it's like, just be there and make the most of it. Like, your kids are going to remember good quality time with you, not that you spent 10 hours with them on this particular day. Like,
Right.
It's going to be, even if it's small increments here and there, it's better than just saying 1 week a year, this is my undivided time. It's like, all right, but where is their memory going to fall back to? And I think that's a really good point.
What's your perspective on work-life balance as a business owner? Truly.
As a business owner, it doesn't exist. It's not like you can't take on the responsibility of running a business and then say, I want work-life balance. I mean, you always have to be on.
Yeah.
I've gotten calls while when I say in labor, like baby's coming out. And
She's crying.
Yeah, you know? And I'm not proud of it, but it's one of those things like.
Did you take the call? Just
I did,
curious.
actually.
Oh, okay. Wow, we'll talk about that later. That feels like.
Oops.
Yeah, put that in the filing cabinet to use later, because oh my god.
There's a lot going on in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, there sure was.
Panicked.
Yeah, one might say.
I mean, work-life balance, like you said. It's like it's very hard to. define work-life balance when like what people are trying to get out of it? Are you trying to have a set schedule and say like at this time I'm done with work? Okay, then there's certain roles and positions out there for you, right? But if you're passionate about what you do, right, and you're feeling it at that moment, like you can't. It's hard to just say like I'm going to turn it off. It's important you turn it off, right? But it's hard. Like work-life balance, I don't know. It's like. Hunter said it. I mean, that's a great way to put it. It's are you maximizing both times?
Yeah.
Are you giving 110% when you're at work, or or all you doing thinking about why am I still here? Why can't I leave at this time?
Yeah.
And then when you're not at work, right? Are you just do you have
Thinking about work.
Are you anxious about like I can't believe I have to go back to work kind of deal? It's like-
Yeah, Hunter works from home, but he it's like time zone thing. So he goes back to work. Honestly, every time we put the kids to bed, he's back in his office, and it used to bother me a little bit until I realized, okay, well he's stopping to do dinner and bath and bedtime with me. He's spending that time and he's going back. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as you're okay with putting your phone down. Now, one thing that bothers me that we always talk about, and I do it too, is we'll be like with the kids and one of us will start doing something on our phone and I'm like, I'd rather you just go in the other room and finish that and then come back because it's annoying. Don't try to double dip. And I catch myself doing it all the time too. I mean, I do it and I hate it. But it drives me nuts because I'm like, just be one place for 1 second.
Right.
I know
Which
it's
is so hard sometimes.
So hard.
Yeah.
we try to do it. I'm sure it's an effort. There's like the creative aspect. I know you two get it. Like you could be trying to think about something the entire week and then
Finally clicks.
clicks
Get home
and it
you're
clicks
like,
and you're like, I'm on it right now. Just let me
Yes.
like walk through it. You know, it's like I'll come home someday of really aggressive days and I'll have to tell like I'm so wound up. I gotta like decompress a little bit, but I've been trying to work on something. So if you feel the momentum from something, you want to harness it. And there's some things like other tasks that you're the one equipped in the organization to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like either I can step in and do it right now and I know we're with the kids, but if I don't do it, it's going to just domino and I'm going to lose more time. So it's like, trust me, like there's not like for anything that I'm able to compartmentalize and put off, I would try to do it. I got great people around me at ease. But there's some things that I'm in a position that I'm like, that's the expectation.
Yeah, I think I just personally have tried to look at it when I like look down at whatever it may be, an email, a text, whatever. I'm like, all right, if I don't respond to this in the next 20 minutes, could this really make a big effect on the business or not? And if it's not, come back to it in 20 minutes and I can still handle it myself. But sometimes
It takes a lot of self-control.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-control. And sometimes
Yeah.
there's conversations like we've had the kids in the bathtub and I've been like, oh, hold on a second. I'll go call you to tell you something. And Hunter will be like, was there a reason you need to make that phone call in the middle of bath time? And I'm like, I had to get that thought out while it was on my mind and relay that to you, or else my mind was going to start skipping to 7 other things and I didn't get it out.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
it's just different because also it's just the two of us. We have a small little business. There's not like 100 people working here for us. Like it is us.
And moments like that, what I've learned that works is I'll take 2 seconds to respond from a standpoint of saying received.
Yeah.
You have done that to me when I've emailed about something, and it is. I think I texted Elizabeth a screenshot of it right away and said, "That is a really, really great thing that I have taken from you." That I was like, "Wow, I've never seen somebody do that," and it was so smart, and it helps the person on the receiving end. I'm like, "Got it. He's seen it,
Compartmentalize it,
but he's
yes.
going to do it later," and I'm okay with that.
Right. So like when you leave it open ended, right, and you don't respond to it, you're thinking about it. They're thinking about it. It takes 2 seconds, even if it's approaching work-life balance, to say, "Hey, on it, received. I'll get back to you." I sometimes even say, "Is this critical? Do you need it right now?" Right. But it's that little bit of compartmentalizing for both parties. It's
Really smart.
yeah. So
I mean, that's really smart to say, like, received, and I will get back to you.
Yeah.
Because as the receiver of it, you're like, got it, I'm
You
heard.
acknowledged me.
You acknowledged
Yeah.
that I sent this, and you're on it, and I'm cool with that.
And you feel good because now you know they saw it, and unless they come back with something like "this is critical, I need it now," you can take all the time,
Buying time. Yeah.
all the time that you need, and get back to, like you said, being 100% in the moment. Because if somebody sends you a critical or "can you answer this question," and you're with your kids, right, you're going to be thinking Do they need it? Do they need it? Do they need it?
Yeah.
Do they need it?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of just like compartmentalizing these things to let you control your day rather than the day control you. So
Really good call. Okay, we're going to play a quick game of rapid fire questions. So we're going to sit kind of close so that I can read them. You can kind of hand the phone to Stevie over here.
Stevie.
And just you give your first response quickly to it. So these will be directed mainly at you and Peter. But I'll sit close so
I
you
thought
can
they
hear.
would address the other guys.
Yeah, well, you know. I meant Elizabeth.
Us. Yeah.
I meant like it's not really going to be questions for Elizabeth.
They're
and I.
gonna answer
I
their
also
own
have not
questions.
seen these questions, so
Yeah.
I think I know
Some
one
of
of
them are not
them.
bad, and we can off the cusp with you.
okay.
Okay, first one's easy. What's one thing you did not expect about this business? First.
Be
That it would
honest.
turn into your second family.
Aw, that's so sweet.
That was
I
sweet.
love that.
I don't know if you meant that in a good or bad way, but
Your deep frustration with international tariffs.
That is valid.
more to come.
That
on.
is
That's
so
a good
valid.
learning opportunity there.
Okay,
We got
but
charged
that's like recent.
$500 to send shorts here, and Timu was for free. Don't even get me started.
We could do
I
a
could
whole podcast on that. Maybe we
rage.
should. We
I-
should educate
yeah.
ourselves a little more and like talk about that.
I had a full blown conversation with UPS.
Do a global
2
economics
years ago.
podcast with you
A
guys.
year ago,
Maybe Hunter could lead that one because we'd be fucking that up bad.
international tariffs wouldn't even cut your like
No, not at all. Not at all. I literally.
I
I also think most people have no idea. Like, I didn't until I
didn't until we
literally
were forced
started
to
this
learn
business.
it until I got slapped by UPS in that
Yeah.
inbox with a $538 bill, and I,
Yep.
of course, reported it because I was like, "This isn't for us."
Yep.
And then I talked it through, and it was because we sent it in 2 separate packages,
And the
and
value
that
was less
screwed
than
us.
$800.
and
Yep.
it was. You know, I learned that there's a certain amount of money that you can come under,
Mhm.
and that you get charged based on like weight and freight. And I mean, I have learned so much. It's sickening. And I actually love it though. Like, as much as I complain about being on the phone with UPS or vendors or whatever, because that's usually
Yeah.
my avenue, I sometimes go home and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I don't realize how little I knew about how
Totally.
things actually work.
that's why I love it too.
It's kind of cool.
No, it is very cool to see you learn all that stuff.
Yeah.
It is. Like, I'll come home sometimes and be like, did you know? And Hunter's like, yeah.
Hunter's like, yes, I did.
He's like, uh-huh.
300 words. I thought it was supposed to be one.
Oh,
one
sorry. Yeah,
incident.
you're right. Oh, God, I forgot what we were doing. Yeah.
Spiral.
Sorry, spiral. Okay. If you had to run the shop for a day, what would be 3 things you know you would need to do?
I would need a bottle of bourbon here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe also some tequila. I know you're big on your
What are
tequila.
3 things that you think are priorities to us in a day?
We need to stretch. You guys are doing a lot of movement.
I've never stretched a day in my fucking
So
life.
what's the question? What do you think 3 things we would need to do?
Yeah, if you were to run this shop for a day, like we were like, hey, I'm sick. I need you to go in and run the shop.
Yeah.
And we couldn't give any direction.
Like, do I need to run the business like you do it, or like what would I do?
How do you keep the day running today? We have to jet out. I got to go. But
How
I
do
need
you
you to keep
show
this
up?
business running today. What are 3 things that you're like, all right, these are probably her top priority. I'm going to start here.
I would check inbound inventory orders. I would check
Not Elizabeth's job, but yeah.
outbound
Also
orders
my
that need to
job.
be dropped off.
The logistics man.
Also my job. Name one. Keep going.
I would check customer emails.
Great. So you would do my job.
Sabs a little bit.
Yeah, me and Savs. Oh, still haven't did name how you know.
I mean, I was gonna say I would just ask Sav, like, tell me what to do
Yeah.
every 10 minutes.
it's actually a really good,
I would reorganize your inventory.
No,
Sav's
you
job.
would not.
And Sav would have that out
Sav
organized on your end.
Literally would
Murder
kick
you.
your ass out.
Kick your ass. The second we like pull a shirt out of there, she's ready to like drop kick your ass.
I would introduce an inventory system for.
So would
Sav
I for
to
$700 a month, and if you want to front
If you
that,
want to go ahead and do that
look,
any
we'll
day,
take
we'll
it.
take it.
I've been begging for one for 3 years, but I ain't about to pay it.
inventory methods, maybe.
We have.
Get a little 6.
Hold on a minute. You say inventory methods. I actually came and toured your warehouse, spoke to the operations manager there.
Alex.
I've toured other places because we are trying to look for free ways to truly run it. It's really hard, I have learned, without an actual system to run it. But it's a full blown 7-person job run by 1 person here. It's crazy how quickly inventory gets.
Managing inventory is incredibly hard. It's very hard managing other people's inventory. I can't imagine managing your own inventory. So
It's probably the one make or break thing in
hard.
this
It's
industry.
hard. I told her.
It's so hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's
A lot of tears have been
So do
shed
you
over
get-
inventory.
one point.
Do you think that
Yeah,
like?
wait.
Do you
Oh.
think that?
Well, I know I would have to put something on social media.
Thank
but,
you.
like, I mean, if you've ever looked at my Instagram,
I was gonna say you saying that is a hoot because I want to tell you guys something. When I met Hunter, he had one photo on his Instagram. You know what it was? A piece of pizza. He's allergic to dairy.
Shut the fuck.
Swear to God.
That's amazing.
Swear to fucking God. I was like, wait, what?
I would love to go back into your Instagram.
They're all the same
I will
pictures of
say-
me, and they are horrid.
The most.
well, I
some
got
of
to
the most-
reuse them.
Some of the most popular social media posts typically include me.
No, they don't. You are so ridiculous.
I wouldn't want to blow that handle off.
Yeah. Okay.
So you would get on social media. You would.
I would have to do something on social media though, like some video, maybe like talk about what I'm doing. Like,
Got to show up.
hey
every day.
guys, today I'm working on this. And
How are
We
you going to
joke-
sell
we-
products?
Yeah, we joke about social media and stuff, but like, truly, if Elizabeth did not show up every day on there ready, like it. She has to. People love to be like, oh, you guys just like to hear yourself talk or this, that. It's like, of course we don't. But that's part of the business. Like, it
Yeah.
is.
yep.
No matter how you slice it.
Yep.
That's correct. You'd have to do that when you came in. Okay, name one more thing because you had 3.
3. Probably clean a little bit.
I was just about to say, Sad's about to walk over here and be like, I told you. She says that I have crumbs under my desk and she doesn't like vacuuming it.
You got
'Cause
like
you eat
full
like a
meals
chipmunk.
under there.
Is that from our basement?
Shit.
No.
Hide it.
I mean, we have 4 of them. We borrowed it.
We just talked about taking stuff from our house.
It was the one Bernard peed on. We were doing you a favor.
Give it back.
You never would have known. I should have.
You actually can have it back because I sat on that and my butt was itchy for about 4 weeks because it pokes you. It hurts.
You don't even like those. Bernard pees on them at our house, so we don't have a dog here to pee on them. I know. I borrowed it for a shoot. I literally borrowed it for a shoot, and it
She's not
just
wrong.
looks really nice. And I was in like November.
It's really taken well to hear. It's taken well to hear.
That is from Amazon. Those
Walmart.
I bought from Wayfair.
This looks like something that we used to have in our kitchen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really
don't know.
remember. I think that was in the
You know what? We like to
shed.
call it scrappy and resourceful.
Yeah, yeah.
We use that rug.
Name a time you've used that rug. Actually used it.
We have
Thank you. That's my point. Were
we
you
have
really missing
4
it?
of them layered, so now we have 3 of them layered that take up the same amount of space, and we have that one that is just waiting to be returned and put back in its place.
Just, a lot of things are crazy.
love that
all right.
looked over.
I was like, wow, I was with that. Okay. We're going to go one at a time. So I will ask this to you first. Hunter, what was your very first impression of Elizabeth? And it got to be raw and honest.
Oh gosh, I don't even
Quirky.
Quirky.
What a quirky girl.
That's amazing. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, when was the first time we met?
And I'm trying to think
I
about the
can't, like,
true
remember.
first time you met.
Probably sometime at this shisha.
Yeah, like
'Cause,
just
Lauren
dropping
always
something off
forgets
or
stuff,
something.
and she's
Yeah.
like, hey, so I forgot this. Can you come
To be fair, we live across the street.
True.
Yeah.
Hunter, what's your first impression of me?
Just what is
Grumpy.
well, oh yeah. No, I did say you were grumpy. Yeah.
We were at, we were somewhere and we were dogging on Steve for being grumpy. And
It was
he's like,
at Heidi's
Hunter?
engagement
Yeah, and he's
party.
like, Hunter, do you think that? And Hunter's like, yeah, you're kind of grumpy. And he's like, whoa.
That cut you deep. That cut you deep.
Yeah, I was like, oh, God, I didn't expect Hunter to tell the truth there. Okay, so Peter, what was your first impression of me?
Grumpy.
no.
Really?
Not grumpy. What's like what
Grumpy.
you put direct and animated together?
Chaotic.
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 Italian. Yeah.
Italian. Yeah, Italian and chaotic. Yeah, okay. I didn't expect you to say grumpy. I expected you to say chaotic.
She's not grumpy.
Because I am
Yeah.
chaotic and I own that. That is so my personality.
Well, you've been known to call us pigeons.
Not over things, but like
Oh, I do. It's okay, I do.
you know.
Very much.
So
over
I
face.
just sometimes when she'll tell me what's going on, I'm like, how does she fucking put that little brain down and you turn it off at night.
I don't.
Like,
It was
there's a
2 a.m.
million damn-
It was 2 a.m. last night. My alarm went off at 7,
She
and I was.
watched our house, remember the trash, and almost called the bomb squad because she smelled a little bit of gas.
There was a gas leak. I could have. I saved your whole new, brand new, gorgeous house you worked hard for. I literally called. Wait, they're on vacation, and I called. I'm like, hey, just a heads up. Because I worked there, so I was still working there when you guys were gone. And I was like, hey, heads up, I smelled gas. Like, what do you want me to do? And Peter's like, oh my God, why don't you call the bomb squad? I'm like, or I could just let your house go up in flames.
Had we not known that the lanterns just make it smell like that and it's not a big deal, we would have thought
That
taken
could
it
have
more
been the first
seriously.
answer.
Yeah.
Instead, he had to like gaslight me, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm letting this place burn. I'm about to light a match and walk away.
A little unknown fact about Lauren outside of her type A personality. You are a very good gas sniffer.
Thank you.
Yeah, she
You
is.
sniffed it out at our first house. You sniffed it out at my mom's house when there was
Thanksgiving, we almost went
I
down.
did not think you were going to say gas.
I
sniffer.
am. It's actually an impeccable skill of mine.
like in a place and she's like, I
smell
smell gas.
I have caught more gas leaks. I can't even name the amount of times that I've called the gas company.
She's like 3 for
That's like
4,
a good
I
fun
think.
fact when people are like, what's something about you that we would never know? I'm a really
I
good
have
gas
caught every
sniffer.
gas leak. I mean, I'm not even kidding.
Because if somebody randomly asked me, who do you know would randomly smell a gas leak, I would say you.
I own all these things about myself. I don't deny I am an overthinker to the nines. I wish I wasn't, because I would sleep a lot better.
I would too.
Yeah.
I get a lot of text around 2, 3 in the morning about
I was going to say, I would
of
probably
thoughts
too.
and task lists. And
Hunter wakes up to at least 3 texts from me. He's sleeping next to me. I will text him so I don't forget to tell him something so I don't wake him, but I need him to know.
Yes.
On the other hand, we have Elizabeth, who could come home, keep her car running in the garage, all the doors open, the grill, the lanterns could all be out, the stove could be on, right?
I want to tell you something that I swore I would never tell you, but it just feels fitting here. We came home one time from an event, and
Oh
the
my
front
God.
door was wide fucking open. And I walked over there and I said, Elizabeth, the door is open. And I went and closed it, and she goes, never tell Peter that, ever.
White ass.
White ass, open.
I mean,
and
like,
I was like, Elizabeth.
I've come home and the garage door and the door into the has been wide open.
you've done that too. You've never done like front door wide ass open like that.
Now, I have been there because I work there,
Yeah.
and the amount of times you've walked back in and lost your keys, your wallet, you lose a lot of shit. And I'm not dogging on you. I'm just like, you lose a lot of shit. And I can't relate to that because I'm always like, put a fucking air tag on it at this point, the both of you.
What number wedding ring is that?
3.
Oh my God. Okay,
And we've been married for 5 years. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Now, how would you react if she lost her wedding and engagement ring?
I would say, I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like it'd be a different story.
I mean, people lose things. It was,
All right, so she lost that rock, and you'd be like, people lose things.
we
No big.
figure it out.
I mean,
Mm.
yeah, okay. Yeah. Just like when she took your keys to Atlanta, that's how calm you were. I literally was in the room and I was like, I'm gonna go down and get
That
coffee and
was
coming back.
so,
Because I could, it was not on speakerphone and I could hear
annoying.
Peter. He's like, you better get to mail these home.
She blocked the driveway. She took both sets of her keys and my keys.
all 3?
Yes.
She did do that.
And blocked it during the heat of construction. Right. It was like,
And
Now
left
that's-
for Atlanta.
To be fair, we for months had to like pee in a porta potty with the construction workers. So I feel like that was not a biggie. We just said, F it, we're going.
I think I had like driven the Bronco the day before, so I had put the key in my purse.
It
to
was
run an
your car was
errand.
getting detailed, and you were driving that car, and then we left. So
Oh.
to be fair, I could see how it happened.
Yeah.
But from Peter's perspective, he's like, "Dog,
Yeah.
you just held up
and
everything."
I remember
here.
what it was. I grabbed his key. I grabbed his key from inside the house to drive the car, but then the top was off and the spare was like just sitting in there. So when I went into wherever I was going, I put the spare in my purse so that somebody didn't steal the car.
But if you're a
And then I
listener to the
just
podcast,
forgot.
you know that Elizabeth is very type B.
Yeah,
She's
that
not
was-
planning anything. Every trip we've been on that she has remotely
That
planned,
one was really
something is
bad.
going awry, whatever. So that's nothing new. That doesn't shock me.
He's not great either, though.
Yeah.
Remember when we were coming back from Heidi's wedding and we decided to fly into
God.
Rickenbacker instead?
Oh my God.
Wait, we get off the plane because we were sitting in the first row, and I see Elizabeth come storming off, and she goes, "Oh, well, you're about to hear. I'm sure you're going to hear if you haven't heard from the front of the plane already. I left my purse in Florida." Not 2 seconds later, Steve comes marching out. "Elizabeth left her purse in Florida. Can you believe it?" I'm like,
do you want to get on the loudspeaker over the whole fucking airport? Because we get it. We get it. And I don't feel happy about it. I'm very, very inconvenienced.
Steve and Hunter
by
were
it.
sitting down.
Part of it is because like I know like I'm gonna have to just be part of the help solve the problem.
No, you weren't.
You made it very clear that you were going to have absolutely nothing to do with solving the problem.
You sat down next to Hunter, and you said it again, and you said, "And you know what? I know I'm going to be the problem." And I said, "That's a lie, because you have work in the morning. You know whose problem it's going to be? Fucking
Lauren's.
mine." So I'm like, it actually isn't going to be your problem. It's going to be my
On the
problem.
loudspeaker.
So then I was sitting there with these two, and Elizabeth walked outside, and I'm like, I'm not really sure where to be, because I'm kind of with them. It's going to be my problem here. I'm kind of annoyed, but also like, I got to figure this out, so I need to go outside and talk to Elizabeth. I was in the middle of it. I'm like, how did I get trapped in this? The next question, and this we'll start with Peter, is first thing that comes to your mind, do you have any tats? Please explain them in detail.
Huh. Yeah, I have one on my back. Only God can judge me.
Oh, mic drop.
In a identity crisis when I turned 18.
No, but you know what? Every single one of your guy friends, like from high school, has like the same fucking tattoo on their
Is
back.
this like the bro thing?
It was like, but I think it was like a trend, sort of.
Kind of like barbed wire on your arm.
Like I can't do.
like that.
I can't do needles, and it was.
I'm shocked that you did that.
It was.
cannot believe
I had to pay the bitching fee and everything. It was brutal. So yes.
I'm not even married to you, and I know that you have a little bit of white coat syndrome.
Yes, I do.
Not a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was
A
being
lot of
nice.
it.
That was me being nice.
All
Yeah.
of it.
And now I don't have any tattoos simply because of I can't commit to something
Commitment
like that. Are you
issues.
joking? I'm
Yeah.
gonna hate it 2 minutes later.
Yeah, I remember when you guys were going to Vegas the one time, and I was trying to convince you, like, just go get one, and you just spiraled. No,
Waiting for him to say, whole back's tatted.
Actually, I have a sleeve.
I've got a nice ass tat back here.
To be fair, when we went to Vegas, I did have her not draw out an ass tat. I had her draw out a tit tat, and it was actually really fucking
It was
cute.
really cute.
But I said after she drew it out and she like kind of put it here, I was like, "Damn, that's hot." And then I was like,
Yeah.
when I'm 80 and I got this saggy tit hanging down, I'm like, this ain't gonna be cute."
I don't think you'll care then.
Yeah, when you're 80.
I freaked out.
You'll think about a Vegas trip with your girlfriends. Like, that'll be a happy memory. You're not going to give a shit when you're 80.
I don't know.
Hunter will like it.
Shit when you're 80, because I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm just scared.
I love your tat. Gives
But
you
only God
character.
can judge you, Peter. It's hope that never fades. I hope you're putting sunscreen
He
on
also
that.
is like has branding on his arm from being hazed in high school. Literally,
Jerome
it's
tasing
like it
people
says
now?
6-10 in like a
You're
scar.
lying. With like a cow, like a brand.
Yeah, how did they do it?
It's just a coat hanger.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Was this like just your friend group? You guys are like,
Yeah,
let's
it was
brand.
just- yeah, it's silly. I didn't know it'd stay with me my entire life.
We're gonna shoot brand Coco on them.
That's a good ass tat.
Yeah, that's a good ass.
that would be a good ass tat.
Okay, we'll start with you this time. Then name 3 locations we've been to market.
Atlanta, Vegas, Dallas.
Good job.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Really? You would? Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of easy.
Peter, name 3 things that I do here at Coco.
Respond to customers, inbound orders, and outbound orders.
It's pretty good. You know,
I actually don't do outbound orders. Wait, are you talking about customer orders? No. I do like the other side of it. Like I do vendor
the buyer.
communication, like inbound inventory, and then
but you
Yeah.
also do a little bit of everything.
I do a little bit of everything. But my main is like connecting the vendors inbound, and then once it arrives, it becomes Sav's job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Reviewing financials.
we, yeah,
We update it every single week.
yeah. To be fair, if we had more time, just the two of us, we probably would. But we do.
Yeah.
We've gotten better about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we've gotten so much better. I'm proud of us for that. We obviously
We look
still
at
have
a
a lot
weekly
of
report
room to
every
learn.
single week as a team. Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten, but we never used to do that. I just want to say
Talking
that.
about like where you're at for the month
Yeah.
quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, and I mean, when I tell you, you come a long way with that.
Yeah.
That never used to happen. Okay. Now, what is one thing that you think annoys me about Elizabeth?
Ooh. I know this one.
The liability in the morning. Like, will she come to work or not?
I was going to say when I stop responding at night. Yeah.
You just fall asleep?
Yeah.
Elizabeth? No.
And she like,
Let me just clarify though. Elizabeth will text me about something that she thinks is like pressing, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bite. I'm gonna respond.
No, it's not
We
like
start talking,
pressing.
and then on my mind, we all know I spiral, and I'm an overthinker, and so I gotta think that thing out to the nines right then and there. She will just ghost in an instant. I'm like, you brought me here.
I just fall asleep.
It drives me frickin' nuts. But I do think in the morning sometimes, like when we have something to do at 9:30, I'm like, is she out of bed? Is she like?
If we have something I got to be here for, I get here. Don't you think?
65% of the time.
Like if there's like somebody coming for like a meeting or something, I'll get my ass there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to maybe just plead the fifth. Peter, what is one thing that you think annoys Elizabeth about me?
Probably what? Why are you looking at me like that?
No, I just was thinking.
You were thinking about
What's
your top.
God?
You were thinking about your top
No, I was
annoyance.
just trying to
Yeah.
think like.
Probably the same thing that also, what is one of the things that she likes most about you from like a business partner standpoint of like thinking about things, making sure things are in order, right? Asking questions like who's going to do this, who's going to do that. So it's like, are you going to be at like you're
I'm always pressing her,
yeah like
Yeah.
she
Keep
like
my ass in line.
yeah like so
but
this,
it can be annoying.
it is 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it's in a good way. Like,
Yeah.
so I think the same things that annoy her are probably the same things that she appreciates because it keeps her. You know what I mean? So
We do say that a lot, that we are very opposite in certain ways. So we thankfully have each other, because sometimes she'll be like, just relax about it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, yeah, it's not. It's not. You're right. Like, I got to step back and take myself out of it. Where other times I'm like, look alive.
Yeah.
This is important. You know, where we need that because we wouldn't maybe think that. But
it's important you do that because you both can't just be like, well, just go figure
Yeah.
it out. You know what I mean? Which is you always will, but like you can't just
Yeah.
da da da, and
Yeah.
then you gotta have So
I
it's
just
a good
sometimes,
mix.
Like take a little more time to like process things.
you do. And I have
big ol'
actually learned from that.
Takes a lot to get it going.
That is my absolute worst trait. And I can self-admit that I, and maybe it comes from my grouchy, impulsive, annoying Italian personality, I do not often think before I speak. The first thing comes to my mouth is falling out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And I oftentimes will be like, ugh, why didn't I step back and take a second?
Yeah.
Because that came out wrong. That's not how I meant it, but someone's going to receive it exactly how I said it. And
Give
I
yourself credit though. You've come a really long way.
well, I was going to
like,
say I have worked
a
on it
lot,
because
yeah.
you have actually taught me a lot, because you are the exact opposite of me, where you'll be like, I want to think on it for 3 days. And I'm like, by that point, we're on to another subject. Let's just hit it
sometimes
the nail on the
like,
head.
If I don't like have it figured out yet, I just kind of shut down
Mm-hmm.
and like I gotta take a second to just like think about it.
Yeah.
Also because I know that if I'm like forced to like address it in that moment, I just know that I'll regret whatever I say.
Totally.
You know
and
what
where
I mean?
I come from the perspective of, if we don't address it, I'm like, so we're just going to ignore it until it gets swept under the rug, and we're not going to ever
I
address
see it
it.
coming off that way, which I'm never ignoring it. It's more so like just processing.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I think I have learned to be somewhere more in the middle with more things now.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
It goes back to just responding and to acknowledge it. I would same thing at ease. I don't expect anybody to have to have the answer in 2 minutes, but to acknowledge it and then bring the solution back.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I will say we have grown in that
I hear you.
facet, saying like, "Hey, I saw that you texted me that, and I see that." We also have gotten better about saying like, "I see your side, but I agree to disagree," and like, this isn't gonna be earth shattering, so let's just agree to disagree because we maybe are looking at it from really different lenses, and it's not that we don't need to get that nitty gritty right now.
It's good. It's healthy to disagree,
Mm-hmm.
especially in business. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
And openly disagree, not disagree behind closed doors. And
Yeah, we've had to learn to say that though, because before it may have been more behind closed doors, and it would be me just like in my mind being like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna. But we have had to openly say like, all right, I hear you, I'm hearing you, but I'm not, I don't agree, and let's just leave it there.
Right.
So yeah, well, okay, thank you guys so much for coming. We could obviously talk for 10 million years, but we appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy days, and we obviously, first and foremost, appreciate you guys for helping us in every facet and being there for us. So kudos to you.
Appreciate you. Love you.
Yeah.
You've done great with it.
Yeah, you guys are doing awesome. It's cool to see.
Yep. And I guarantee this will be the highest viewed podcast because we're on it.
Definitely.
If you're looking for more podcasts with Hunter and I, please check out Pete and Hunter's podcast every Thursday night.
Yeah.
Oh my God, imagine the two of you. But no,
Pete
and Hunter.
listeners.
they'd probably take off and be like, top podcast. It'd be so annoying.
It's like the Kelsey brothers. You know?
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right, on that note, thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, like, and use your Unbuttoned 10 podcast discount code.
Bye-bye.
Bye.